hello, this is Malady and Bree version 3.2 technically. Lots of polish has been done, and I figured I'd do a very basic voiceover on this one just to highlight some of the things. So the main menu, pressing play, you get a not voice acted intro cutscene. I've made the text a lot bigger in this version, and I've added a small outline so it's a bit easier to read, although obviously black background you can't really tell. One of the problems we still have is the size of the text box and the fact that the mouse is for some reason unlocked, so you can highlight it and scroll it. This shouldn't be able to happen, and you shouldn't be able to edit the text either, which I think is an easy fix. Regardless, the cutscene doesn't end until you press right click the mouse button, as you can see in the bottom right there, so let's do that. Now, since we're in a packaged version of the game and not in Unreal Engine, I can press escape and go back to the main menu. Pressing play no longer replays the cutscene, it puts you right where you were before. If I move forward and I press escape and then I press play, I'm still where the character was before, because it doesn't actually move the character, it's just a separate camera. So here's the first voice line.
Scratch marks. Something big made those. Better be careful.
I think the volume on these voice lines are about right. Maybe you could use a bit more tweaking. The first time you interact with anything in the game, you'll notice it says I'm close to Bree, time to start the investigation, with a prompt in the bottom there saying press J, and if we do that, we'll see the journal with a new font for all the buttons, and this is the same font used in the subtitles as well. If we click on Large Beast, we can see the first text. This should not be editable. No, it's not. Perfect. Let's continue on. This area is a lot less obvious now. You have to really approach the rock to see that you can probably pass through here. And there's this red flower and these red butterflies that hopefully should draw the player's attention more to the left the first time rather than the right. The blood is also no longer there.
A body? Was he leaving the village? Looks like he was a merchant.
And we can really see the outline of the text, making it a bit easier to read there.
What's this? Blood? Has to have come from somewhere.
Now, one thing you might notice is that when you interact with objects, you don't lose controls. This means that if there's two things that you can interact with, like the scratch marks and the blood in the body, it's actually possible to walk to the body from the scratch marks and have overlapping audio. I can probably fix this, but I'm curious to see if it actually comes up in testing.
A merchant's wagon. What's this? Some kind of looking glass? Feels magical.
Now, what the player can do, and it's not at all necessary, but if they want to fill out the third part of the dead body, they can come back after getting the looking glass and interact with his body, or investigate it, I should say. And this isn't immediately obvious to the player, and I don't think it needs to be either, because this voice line, recorded by me, is a little bit goofy. It's one of the goofier ones. And you'll see there is no spyglass now either. It just zooms in and fades out into the cutscene.
Damn it. Curse that wizard.
Alright, so it was that little gasp of air at the end that, after compressing the audio and normalizing it and all of that, it sounds a little bit strange. I can definitely go and cut that out of the audio, but I think it's a bit quirky, I guess. I'm not too sure. If I find the time, I'll find the audio file and edit it. But with that, we're going to enter the cave. The footsteps change first, and then when you reach a certain area, you can hear them start to echo. And then if we get even deeper into the cave, you'll notice the vignette fades in, to show that we're truly in the mouth of the cave here. these fireflies, they're quite big compared to the other ones. This is because this mesh is actually scaled up slightly, and it scales the fireflies as well.
Something lives in here. Betting by those bones, it's not too friendly.
One thing that I'm not a huge fan of is there is clearly a skeleton here, or a couple even, but they are not investigatable because these are not characters. This might be frustrating to some players, and I'm curious if what the solution to that would be. So we're going to go down the left path here. This is definitely the main path. Players can choose to go to the right, but I think that people prefer the left. It's more obvious. To fix that, I have added some more meshes to the right, which I forgot to show off, but I'll provide some screenshots.
A pile of bones. Something or someone's been messing with them.
You can hear the attenuation from the water over there. You can hear it just fade out as we get further away, which is quite good. Of course, there are still fireflies on this body even after interacting with it. Notice that E is still present, although we can't press E. That's a bit of a bug.
Shoes are low. Freckles can't swim. Go with him. Writhing smells bad. No.
Another fatality for Sirloin. So let's go over the bridge now. There is a bug to do with the zooming in, and that fade out of the water is actually the little cloud looping, which is unfortunate timing for us, as it's quite a large sound. Now we can go straight over here. Now this full wooden thing actually has creaking sound effects, which is quite cool. One of my players that tested said that it was quite cool to hear that after just hearing the stone footsteps for a while. In the crypt, we'll go see the Necromancer, and what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to zoom in before pressing E.
Rise, hound, and I shall name thee Sirloin. You are to carry my bodies back here so I may,
Now, we can still interact with this, but if we press right click again, it will fade in for another cutscene, but not play the text. This is only half working as intended, and I want to remove the zoom in and the cutscene if you've already seen it, which again shouldn't be too hard to do. The only difficult part is because of how I've set it up, I have to do this individually for all of them, which isn't super efficient.
Strange looking body. Makeshift laboratory. Old crypt. Definitely a necromancer's there.
Another thing you might notice is the text in the subtitles does actually scroll slower than the menu cutscene. That is another new change. So we've started filling out some of these cave things, and we can't zoom in and start the cutscene on this anymore now that the fireflies are gone. One solution for this would be, instead of using a bunch of Boolean logic, which is how I've done it currently, I could just duplicate the collision box used to start the interaction and have one for interacting and one for investigating, and have them work completely separate to each other. This would be probably slightly more intensive, but it's not really going to make a difference. Now, I don't think a lot of players are going to choose to come up here, so I've added some more lights to hopefully guide them. And ideally, I want some perhaps bats flying through this area, just to try and guide the player to see this cool little area filled with crystals, where they'll also find another body. Though if we get close, there is actually a very unique sound effect that only plays here, you might hear. There we go. That plays on random intervals around this area of crystals.
What a strange looking
Kind of like
skeleton.
a resonance.
Bones are in the wrong places.
Its bones are in the wrong places. I wonder why. Let's find out.
Guys, Master is killed. Oh no!
And we have both of the ghouls now as well, which are fully filled out. The beast den, you can't fully fill this out. The beast is a plot thread that would be continued in the village area. This lamppost is quite cool. It's fallen over and the lamp has floated onto that crystal there. I found, since I've separated the lamp mesh with the lamps anyway, it'd be cool to have some that are no longer functional. We see another one here. Just a little bit of very minor environmental storytelling, which I think makes that area a little bit more interesting. Back in this open area, and this place is literally glowing. Hopefully it's as bright as I see it on other monitors.
Hallstatt, Jameson, Ashford. These empty graves list the names of many people. Dangerous place to work.
I think this is one of the lampposts that is low down enough that I can actually interact with it. But because it doesn't collide with the player at all, I can actually go inside it, which is a bit of a problem. I need to just tweak with the collision settings of that lamp. This crystal's interesting. You can interact with this cart of crystals, or there are two more carts down here which actually have the same interaction, and interacting with one of them will delete the other. Two ways to get the same evidence type.
Looks like the workers here were harvesting these crystals and taking them that way. I wonder what for.
Now, these subtitles are actually a bit too slow. And over there you'll notice there's no more fireflies there because you can't interact with the other thing. Now the crystal delivery is not showing properly, and the tower, the Oswald button specifically, is giving all the evidence types immediately. I need to go through the blueprints and find out why that is, but it's another pretty easy fix, I think. Here we have the
Was
cave
this a
exit.
cave mouth? It's all caved in now. I'll have to find another way out.
If we look up, we can see the top of the tower peeking out of the cave at this point, with birds flying around it. These birds fly in a circle, and I'm curious if I could repurpose that visual effect, but with bat models. But ideally I don't want it to be in a circle, I'd rather have it on some sort of spline. Into the tower we go, and I totally missed this evidence.
This tower belongs to the great wizard Oswald. Strange place for a home.
Now, one thing that I did muck up on a bit is that Oswald wasn't actually originally the name of the wizard. It was Olimar, and Oswald was going to be the merchant's name. And I accidentally started using the two names interchangeably during planning, to the point where it is now pretty much Oswald everywhere except for some of my older diagrams. So the name Olimar has all been abandoned. This room in particular, I spent a lot of time getting the lighting right. I wanted this kind of spooky glow coming through the window, so we've got a more blue light. And I think this helps highlight this body. We've added this fallen chandelier thing from the ceiling, which actually blocks off the rest of the room, forcing the player to go past this villager and that's because it's actually a bit
Could he have
spoilery.
fallen? Maybe this was the wizard.
And what do I mean by that? Well, in the dialogue it says maybe this is the wizard, but if you go upstairs, you will, with a certainty, find the actual wizard. So I think it's important the players find this body specifically.
Okay, now that the wizard is gone, we should seal this cave pass for good. Only problems have come from... Hey, are you okay?
I don't feel so good.
Must be the air down here. Hey, wait!
So this man fell down the stairs after presumably suffering from the same illness that the village people have been suffering from, and there was a man with him who seemingly helped kill the wizard. That man is actually the merchant at the start of the game, and also the man who blew up the cave mouth.
Looks like this is the wizard. He hasn't left that chair in a while.
What? Is this all that remains of the great wizard Oswald? Let's finish him off and leave. At least he left behind this expensive looking spyglass.
Now that dialogue is actually a bit part of my voice break. It's a little bit unfinished, the subtitles aren't all there, and because the audio starts quite a bit before the dialogue does, it's been quite hard to line up the subtitles. Perhaps I could use a delay or something to do that. But that is everything. The tower journal pages aren't incorporated properly yet. Neither is the crystal delivery and the cave-in, but everything else is perfect, and you should be able to fill out all of them, with the exception of the beast den, as the beast is in the village right now. Also, the dead body, which is interesting. The third page for that should be when you get to the tower, so that's another thing that needs to be updated. This is just a video going through the current version of the game and what issues start now. I'll bullet point them in a forum post as well, but this is just useful to get all my ducks in a row, I suppose. Hopefully my voice doesn't sound too bad because I've been a bit under the weather today, but thank you for watching. I hope this was enlightening.